Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. Today we are going to make this beautiful card, which I hope you can see the shimmer on it. Let me see if I can bring it up a little bit and you can see. Yes, you can see all the lovely shimmer on it, and it's just a beautiful way of doing a card using a stencil and using your embossing machine. So what you need to do is, and this is the card we're going to make today. I've done another one. This is one that I did with another embossing folder. And we're going to do this one because I love that one. To do the embossing with a stencil, you need a silicone mat. So it depends on your platform. You need to play around, because quite often when you put a silicone mat in there, it won't go through your machine. So you need to play around with 1 plate, 2 plates, however you want to do it. I've done it already because I do have to play around with mine a bit to just make sure that it works. But you put your silicone mat down and you then put your stencil. So you put your silicone mat, your paper and your stencil, and you can work it that way, or you can do it the other way round and you can put your you can put it that way round. So you can put your silicone mat and your stencil and then your paper over, and you then get what they call a deboss and an emboss, so you can use either side. Now again, just shows the quality of the stencils, because I've done this technique with other brands, and quite interestingly, you can sometimes find that your stencil will warp or will get squished in there. These have been absolutely fine, no problem at all. These are from Indigo Blue. If you like any of their products, there is a code you can use, which is Jane, Jane, small letters, 20, and you'll get 20% off of any orders that you put through from Indigo Blue. So that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to use the embossed side rather than the debossed side, and I'm using some blending brushes. Lost the word a minute then. And the colours we're going to use are, I want a green, so I'm going to use a nice sort of fresh green, and I'm going to use a yellow, and I'm going to use a yellow I think. So I'm just reaching up to get my inks in. So this is Daffodil Delight and Granny Apple Green. They're Stampin' Up ones, but any inks that you've got. And I'm literally going to use the lightest one first, and I'm just going to go all the way over it. So I'm going to take some yellow and some green and take them both out. I'm going to start with the yellow, so I'm just sort of putting some in on here, right the way over everything, and then I'm going to take some of the green and I'm going to just sort of blend that in and through. And I'm going over the birds and everything, right the way over the whole lot. So you get this lovely embossing coming through. And it's a thing of building it up. I'm doing it quite quickly because I don't want this video to be, I've done some quite long ones recently, so I'm trying to do a few that aren't quite so long. So that's the green. And I'm just going to take some more of the yellow because I quite like the yellow in there. So just blending it all through. And just taking it around on here. It's a lovely way of using embossing folders because they just make it look beautiful. Okay, so that's going to start from there, and it's not overly pretty at the moment, but that doesn't matter. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to take some gilding wax. Now this is by Pebeo, and you can get gilding wax in all sorts of places, but this is what I'm using at the moment. I am going to be trying some another product, but what you want to do is you are just going to go over the top part of the stencil, so the raised part. Now you will get some that'll come off the other side as well, and that doesn't matter too much because we're going to be doing some stamping and things over the top. But if you just take the top, and you can see that some of this is not over on this edge, it hasn't embossed maybe quite as much as I would like, but again, maybe I needed my sandwich a little bit thicker, but it's working okay. So just literally you can see how it's starting to darken up a bit now. So we're going to go right the way round on this edge bit as well, just taking a little bit of the gilding wax as we go. And take it round on this because it's got like a nice little sort of border running all the way through. So you can do it as thick or as fine as you want. I like to do it sort of half and half, I think, not overly thick so you can't see anything coming through from the bottom, but again not so fine that you can't really see what you're doing. So taking through on here, you can see how it's starting to build up, and then I'm going to do it across where the bird is, and I'm going to do it fairly finely over the bird because we're going to be using some alcohol markers to just define the actual bird. Okay, so let's make sure I've got the top of this one in on here. So that's got that through, and I hope you can see it hasn't got too much of a shine in at the moment, but that's fine because you're not going to get too much of a shine until you buff it. So I would normally leave it for a few minutes, but it doesn't matter overly because you know, you can use it, you don't have to wait too long. And I've just got a bit of kitchen towel and I'm now going to buff it, and I hope you can see that as you buff it, it becomes really shiny. So just going to give it a good old buff, and now if I show it to you, hopefully you can see, we have a look on, yes you can see the real shimmer on there. Okay, so now we are going to use a background stamp because I want to sort of distress it a bit. So I'm going to use again an indigo blue one. This was from their magazine, which I believe has sold out now because it was very popular, but you know, I'm going to use them again and again. The nice thing is that these are indigo blue is known for its red rubber and high quality. However, with a magazine, you can't do red rubber, so these are photopolymer. But again, even though they're photopolymer, they're of a great quality, so they stamp beautifully. So I'm just going to put this on, and you know I've been using this one quite a lot because I really love this. I've got another order coming, but I've got to be patient, so I've got to wait for it to arrive. And I always do my videos, as you know, a couple of weeks in advance. So I have got a lovely order coming through from Indigo Blue. But until it's arrived, I'm using what I've already got. And as I say, these stencils are new to me and they're fairly new. So I thought, let's do something pretty with the stencils. So I am going to cover this completely in this wording. Now, you're not going to have it come out completely because you've got the gilding wax, and it won't stick to the gilding wax particularly well, but it will stick well enough for what we want. And as you can see, it just gives, I think, black on yellow with a little bit of green is just lovely. And you can see, you can just take it all the way down beautifully. And as I say, I love it, absolutely love it. So we'll have a little bit on here. I was going to do it, let's just, I only want these little bits like that, and that little bit on there. Okay, so we've now got the wording running through on it, which again I think just adds to it. I'm going to clean this up later because I don't think I need to use that anymore. However, I am going to clean my surface down a little bit, otherwise I'm going to have black running all the way over it, and that won't do my card. If I'm putting it on a white card base, that won't do it much good at all. Okay, that's fine on there. Okay, so that's how we've got it now. Now the bird, I want to do some more definition. I don't want to do the rest of it because I think it will then look a bit much. So I'm using, this is the Tri-Blends from Spectrum Noir, which are alcohol markers. And I'm going to start with the light. So I'm literally just going to very carefully go around the edges first because I don't want it to bleed through. Now I'm not doing it on the branch because there's a branch there, so I'm just coming up on the edge of this, and then I can colour it in. I'm doing with the pale first because if I happen to go across the edge a little bit, it's not going to make much difference. And because it's an alcohol marker, I can go over the inking and it's still going to be on there beautifully. So let's just do the little tail down on there, because the bird is going to be sitting across the branch. So I'm doing the other tail as well, making sure that I get it across there, up to the branch and not over it. And this one up here, and that's why I said do the pale first, and then I'm going to use the darker one over the top, but it still gives that lovely colour coming through as well. And I don't want to make it too because it's like a silhouette. you don't want to make it too dark, because then it won't blend in with everything else. So I'm looking at that and going, that looks quite nice. And as it dries, it will dry paler and paler. Now, I'm going to take it up one more, because I want the beak to be just a little bit darker. And I'm going to go down on the inside. Like that, and then I'm going to do the little bit of the tail. Like that, and then I'm going to do the beak on this one, and then down through on the center. And the nice thing is that the color is still going to come through from the other, the ink that we've blended underneath and the wording. So you've still got that coming through. That I think is going to be about right. Once it's dried, it will look really rather beautiful. So if I pick that up, you can see, if I pick that up nearer, you can see how you've got your light and your dark, and you've still got that real shimmer coming through, which I think is really pretty. Now I want to just frame it. So for that, I'm going to use, you can use any black marker that you've got. As you know, I use the Posca pens because I bought them ages and ages ago. I bought my first set because I was doing some pebble art. And you can see on here, you can get pebbles from the garden, or round pebbles, and paint them. And then if you use a sort of like a yacht varnish or something like that, you can then have them in the garden, and they make sort of a bit of an ornament. So with this, I'm going to just do the outside border in black. So I'm just going to take a thick marker and just put it down. This saves you from having to mount things. So it saves you on your piece of card, so you don't have to do a mat for it, so you're saving on a piece of cardstock, and it also just gives a nice finish to it. So take it down that way and take it down on this one. That gives our finish quite nicely. And I'm going to keep this, I don't think I'm going to keep this one out because this is the bigger one, but I'm going to take the smaller ones out because I want to use the small black in a minute for the words. And I'm just going to clean this up. Where's my little cloth? Give that a, move that out of the way because I don't want it to like that. I'm going to have to use another thing to clean it up, but that's fine. Okay, so that's the card with the blank. I've got my cards that I'm going to put it onto, which is like this one, and then that I've got two there. Thought it seemed a bit fat. I only want one of them, and that's going to go in like that. So you can now see the black border around on there, which I think looks rather nice. And then all I want to do is to put a couple of sentiments in on there, and and I'm going to use, what have I got? I've got these words left. Love beyond words. I think that's nice because they look like little lovebirds. So let's take those and we'll just cut those up a bit, and I might have to do the birds a little bit darker because you can see as it's gone as the alcohol has evaporated from the alcohol ink markers, it sorry, I'm concentrating on doing this so I'm not talking at the same time. It's got paler, so I might just darken it up a bit because I do want the birds to be fairly dark, I think, although I don't know, I think it might work. Okay, so we're going to put these Love Beyond Words, which I think is really nice. So let's just glue those down. And when you're sponging and stuff, it's very difficult to get it exactly the same on each one. So I don't think I got glue all the way up to the edge on there. It's better. So I have Love there. And then we'll have Beyond Words down on the bottom. There we go. I'll just put that in down like that. I always put them at a slight angle because I like things at a slight angle. I don't like them completely straight. So now we need to take our lighter or our finer pointed Posca, and I'm just going to, now I always take it from the bottom, so I'm just going to run a line along the bottom here like that, take it up the side, take it up the side. I'm going quiet because I'm concentrating, and then we'll do this one as well. And then take this one up this way. And take it down that way. And I just need to go around the corners. Like that. So we've then got that as our words. It's got bits of black and stuff on there, and then this is going to go onto the card front like that. So I think I'm going to keep it exactly like that. I quite like it a little bit paler this time. I don't think I want to have it any darker. I'll show you the other one, which I've got Live Every Moment on. That's the nice thing. Again, these are indigo blue words, and you can chop them up, which is what I like. I like to be able to chop words up because it's nice to have words that are chopped up. Now, because this has got, it's been embossed, you need to make sure you've got a reasonable amount of glue on there. So I'm just going to pop that on like that. This can then go in on here with the nice black mount on there, like that, and I can just take it down there, give it a rub on there, and there we are. There we have it. So that was the original one, and you can see that is the blue is a little bit bluer on there. That's a little bit paler, but I think both work. So, you know, this one, you've still got that lovely shimmer coming through, and the birds are a little bit paler. My original one, again, you've got the shimmer coming through, but the birds are a little bit darker. So I might just take them a little bit darker because, as I say, as the alcohol ink dries, but it does look quite nice and subtle. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please Please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.